All right, welcome everyone. Welcome. I just want everyone to give a hand for themselves for being here for the second annual Raw Food Festival. Let's get this energy up. Yes, yes. Again, my name is Khepra. Again, welcome. This is the second annual Raw Food Festival, and I'm just really excited. Actually, when I first turned raw, I went raw in year 2000, and so it's been 15 years. And somebody asked me a question earlier, like, was it an overnight? Was it a gradual? Was it, it was all of the above, because the thing is like, now we have so much more knowledge and information, and we have restaurants, we have YouTube. There's so much in terms of as we move into our information age, that we are able to understand what it is to do this sort of lifestyle. So the thing is that when I first went raw, this was year 2000. So why did I do it? Well, that is an excellent question. I don't even really, I would have to give that some thought. But really at the time, I knew, that this was for me. And I knew that this was my chosen path. Not that I choose it, but it was chosen for me. And, and I say that because the raw food diet may not be necessarily your chosen path, or 100% raw food may not be the thing for you. You have to find your balance, you have to find your rhythm. But again, going back to that time, I had pretty much been vegetarian, vegan, pretty much as a teenager. This year I turned 43. So 1990, that's when I graduated high school. I was becoming a vegetarian. I stopped eating pork and red meat, and then shortly thereafter started not eating chicken and fish and dairy. Okay, so for 10 years, pretty much was, I had heard about the raw food diet and was familiar with it. And actually, there would be times when I would just eat fruit during those years, especially, well, the first seed was planted with when I heard Dick Gregory speak. I believe it was either in 1991 or 1992. And during that year, I think it was 1991, the winter. And, he talked about how man should only eat, fruits and herbs, because that's what it says in the Bible. Genesis 1:29. So man should have only fruit and herbs as his meat. Okay, so that really, being brought up, being raised in the Christian church, and week after week, year after year, you read the Bible, and but never that verse was ever discussed. So it was really enlightening, and it was illuminating to hear him speak on that. And then it's like, wow. So I assumed that he was following that. I mean, I don't know for sure if he does or not, but he did write a book, Cooking with Mother Nature, which I read, and there were some early books at that time, but I was pretty much, trying to do the raw food diet back then, just eating lots of fruit. And even in year 2000, when I said, okay, I'm going to do this, like this is going to be like the way I eat 100% of the time, that's what I did. I said, I'm going to just eat fruit, because that's what I like. And the thing is that was great, because, you have in the raw food movement, we have these, what people call the high fruitarian, or the 80-10-10, the people who eat largely fruit as their sustenance, and they what do they say? They just eat a high volume of bananas and mangoes and whatever's in season. And that's good, but the thing is that in this environment, I find that not to be the best thing year round, because we live in a seasonal environment where we have winter and fall as we're moving into fall now. So we have to change up. We have to switch. Now, if we're in the tropics and we're in a region where lots of fruits are growing year round, then we could do a higher fruit diet. I mean, the year I was in Brazil, Salvador, Brazil, pretty much on the equator. This was in the month of November. I would have coconut water, sugarcane, fruits for like 3-4 days straight. Then I'd eat a salad, maybe on the 4th or 5th day. So I'd have avocado, greens, and things like that. But this was November. Brazil is below the equator, so they were moving into summer. And you could feel the heat and the intensity of the sun. Like, that's all I wanted to drink or eat was coconut water, sugarcane, and fruits. Papaya, mango, sweet sop. They have some acai. Y'all know the acai. We get the acai fresh in Brazil. So obviously, if I was here in November, I wouldn't be doing coconut water, sugar cane, sweet sop, mangoes. No, I'd be doing a lot more grains, more nuts and seeds, sprouted grains, pretty much the raw food diet, but not the high fruit diet. So that's something to consider. And I talk a lot about cycles, but going back to 2000, when I went raw, pretty much the first 6 months was fruits and salads. And a lot of people come to me and say, I've been doing the raw food, and either I discovered your place and it's, wow, this is so great, or it was a lady just yesterday. She was doing, I think, 30 days raw food, and was again doing the fruits and salads, and I did that for at least the first 6 months, and in the first month I was just doing fruits. So the thing is that, see, what the fruits do, the fruits are obviously loaded with vitamins, especially vitamin C, but the fruits are high moisture, lots of water, and the thing is, when you eat lots of fruit, it will really kind of treat it as like you're almost on a fast. So the fruits are the cleansers. Eating lots of fruit, it will clean you out, because again, it's lots of moisture, lots of water, and that's what was happening. But the thing is like you have to also begin to build at some point. Okay, if we're always just cleansing, we need some magnetic foods. Fruits are electric. They stimulate, they allow the body for circulation, for elimination. But then we need some building blocks. We need some fats. We need some proteins. We need some minerals. We need some bitters. We need some hots. And so that's when I began to, because what ended up happening was, when I was eating the fruits, it was like, okay, when I was ready for something heavy, then I went nuts. And then again, that was a problem. Because the nuts, just like the fruits, are the cleansers, the eliminators, the flushers. The nuts are the builders. But the thing is that if we can eat too much nuts, then they become constipating. They become acidic. They're more the acid-forming foods. So the thing is that we need acid and we need alkaline, but we need to be, I guess most people agree that we need to be slightly alkaline. So the fruits, generally speaking, are in the middle of the acid-alkaline balance. But the thing is, like, when we eat nuts, the missing ingredient was, of course, the greens. So once I said, oh, okay, I got to eat salads now. And I was always a salad person, even as a kid. So that wasn't difficult. So the transition to raw was not difficult, really, from a nutritional standpoint for me, especially when I started to do the big salad. So I would, like, if it was summertime, I had a, big, maybe I'd cut a watermelon in half, and then I'd treat it like a bowl of cereal, and that'd be my breakfast. Okay, and then I'd have a big salad for lunch, kale or collards, spinach, bok choy, mustard green, turnip green. I did all of them. And then do the same thing for dinner. And then, of course, I would dress it with avocado and tomato and hemp seeds and all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, but then 6 months of that, it's like, okay, this is getting a little monotonous. So it's like, okay, I had heard that, that's when I discovered the raw cuisine. And it was like, wow, I can make pizza, I can make desserts, I can do burgers and lots of interesting things. So that's when that's when I became a chef. I didn't go to chef school. I've always kind of known my way around the kitchen, because interesting thing is that I've always worked in restaurants, and it's funny how like life will sort of come full circle, because from 14, washing dishes, waiting tables, just always being in the restaurant food environment, and then life would have it, I'm a restaurateur as a living. So it really started back 30 years ago, 14 years old, 13 years old, working in kitchens. So yes, this is my calling, my life, and here I am. So, but it was the raw food that really brought me here, because I got into it as a lifestyle and said, okay, and then discovered that, wow, I can really do the chef thing. So once I became a chef, then what ended up happening was I got all the equipment. I had the Green Star, the juicer, and it also does the homogenizer. I got a dehydrator. I got the Vitamix. I made this investment, and I was a student. I was still a student at Howard University. So again, when people tell me, oh, this equipment is so expensive and all this kind of stuff, I was on a student income, okay, and I was buying $400 Vitamix. How much was the Green Star? It was at least $300 for that Green Star. Another $200 for the dehydrator. I mean, these are small investments, really, and so like that is never an excuse. Actually, that's what it is an excuse. Because there is no excuse, I mean, it's just sad that in our culture, in our society, we, if we buy a house or rent an apartment, it comes with all the tools that will essentially destroy your health. It comes with a microwave. You don't even have to buy a microwave today. The stove, it comes with these things that will undermine our health, short term and long term. So yeah, I started making food. I really just got into it. And at the time, a big book for me was Giuliano's book. That was one of the first books out. Did all the recipes in there multiple times. I started just looking for any video, any book that was out. And again, mind you, this was not the time when the internet was at its infancy. We didn't have we couldn't open up your smartphone and go on YouTube or go on Facebook or go on any of these social media and find information. Like, you had to go through the books. You had to go through not even DVDs, it was VHS. Okay, I had to go to the VHS tapes. All right, and you know, and then a big influence. I stumbled upon Reese Latham's video, The Art of Raw Foods, and that was major for me. And then obviously we got a chance to work together, and then he helped me sort of refine my technique. You know, just being more creative in the kitchen, being more of an artist, but also not forgetting the science. And understanding the science and the art of raw food really work together. Okay, it starts with the science. Like what attracted me to raw food was the science of raw food, was understanding that it starts with moisture, it starts with enzymes, it starts with raw nutrition. And then from that, then it's like, because again, the science will get you to the point where it's like, okay, now you're doing your fruits and salads, your fruits and salads, your fruits and salads. But then it's like, okay, I want to enjoy, on occasion, the raw food pizza, the cheesecake, the fancy dessert. I think, you know, and even in the raw food circles, the raw cuisine sort of gets a bad rap. It's like everybody is doing all this dehydrated stuff, and you know, they're getting away from the true essence of what raw food is about. And the thing is like I make an analogy to music. You know, like in music, we don't listen to one instrument at a time. I mean, yes, we can mono eat. You know, we should eat like 20 apples or 10 bananas or a big watermelon. But in music, you know, we could listen to the drum, we could listen to the guitar, we could listen to the djembe, you know. But when you bring these instruments all together, you get a song. You see what I'm saying? And the raw food chef really represents that musician taking God's food the way God created, and now bringing these things in a harmony, where things, the food hasn't been overly processed or processed at all. You're taking it at its true form, its true, like how God created it, off the vine, off the tree, out the ground. You're combining them in a harmonious fashion. You may be doing some dehydration, you're doing some blending, some processing via the food processor, and now you're able to make creations that will stimulate the 5 taste sensations in the mouth simultaneously. You know, a lot of foods may stimulate 1 or 2 of the taste sensations. You know, what are the 5? I always ask especially when I'm doing a demo. The basic 5.
Sweet, salty, sour.
Well, let's stop at sweet and salt. People always say that first. But there's a reason for that, because that's what we look for first. You know, we want the sweet and we want the salt. And as a chef, you know, you have to understand that. You always want sweet, you always want salt, and you really want them together. Anything processed on the shelf at the supermarket always will have sweet and salt together. And that's what, like, you know, that's what you like. We addicted to that sweet and salt together. Okay, but then, so I say that those are really the gateway tastes. But then the other 3 are what I call the medicinal taste sensations, and those are sour,
Spicy.
and what else?
Bitter.
Bitter. Yeah, bitter is usually last. What people say. Bitter. Bitter, hot or spicy, and sour. Now, sour is important. Usually our vitamin C, or foods that are high in vitamin C, are sour. Okay, so a lot of our fruits have a sour to them. But then the bitter and the hot. So the bitter, a lot of our herbs all fall under the bitter category. But again, as a chef, you know, like, especially when you're working with nuts, you want to balance that acidity with the alkaline. The bitter is what makes it alkaline. You know, so that alkaline, like if I'm using parsley or cilantro or thyme or basil or oregano, all of these things will balance. You know, so it's about balance. And then of course hot. So you know, I say like if you're not using any kind of fresh hot pepper in your food, then your food ain't saying nothing. Okay, your food is not talking, because the thing is that when you know, it's the same like what hot does. It works similar to the way salt does. Salt is an enhancer. Hot is also an enhancer. So when we use hot, and we don't have to make it hot like burning up in your mouth, but just a little of that vibration in there, that will give it some energy, and therefore we don't have to use as much salt. Okay, so it's really, it's definitely all about balance. And you know, just as a reference, like an onion, garlic, and like the pungent foods is underneath the hot. So that's like a kind of a subcategory, along with our like hot peppers. You know, we have our jalapeno, habanero, Scotch bonnet. You know, some of the hotter ones are the scorpion and the ghost peppers. But this is the season. You know, if you go to a farmer's market or if you go to your market in general, the late summer is always when the peppers are in season, because they need that. They need that whole summer. They're pulling that energy from the sun. Okay, so typically at my shop, what we do is we'll get enough peppers like now to last us for the year, and so to preserve them, we freeze them. So that takes away a good amount of the heat, but it still has that energy. And so that's my secret weapon in terms of flavor. People say Khepra is the flavor master. Like, no, it's the pepper. It starts and ends with the pepper. So again, I encourage you to, in your cuisine, to just use just go for it. You know, that's a big one in just about any dish. You know, today, if you hadn't tried we don't always do it at the shop, but today, you know, we made some chili, so definitely want to sample that before you leave today. So you get an idea of everything. Everything what I just talked about is definitely captured in that chili. Okay. So so in terms of this raw food life and cycle, that's really the thing that I like to really talk about the most, is because I think people are not, we're not connected, and we are connected, but we're not conscious of the connection, and the connection especially being given like the period of the year that we're in now, because it's in terms of refining your eating and the way you eat. It's important, you have to understand all of the cycles. Okay, we have a 24-hour cycle, we have a week cycle, we have a moon cycle, and then we have a year cycle. So each cycle offers the opportunity to fast, to eat, to rest, and to eliminate. Okay, so let's start with the day cycle. You know, every day, again, is an opportunity to fast. Now, you're not necessarily fasting all day, but you're fasting obviously at night when you go to sleep. Okay, but then that first part of the day, you want to work up to eating. You don't want to just, again, we start the day completely wrong in terms of being like coming off of an oxygen fast while we're sleeping. We want to ease into the transition of food. So how do we do that? We do that with moisture, with water. Okay, if you have access to fresh juices. Well, you definitely should be making fresh juices, but even coconut water. But from the time you wake up to at least high noon, it should be high moisture foods, like eliminated foods, foods that are flushing you out, okay? And then also it's a time to also exercise, to move, to assist in that elimination. It's definitely the best time in terms of doing any type of yoga or any exercise. A lot of people exercise at night because maybe they're part of a dance class or a yoga class, and really that's the wrong time. Our energy should be going down with the sun. As the sun is going up, our energy should be going up. We should be raising our chi and our kundalini and that vibration. And then we also should be, again, drinking lots of fluids, lots of eliminated foods, because again, we just came off of a fast. Okay, so again, high noon, that's the time to start to eat and start to give the body, especially if you worked out. Now you've stimulated the digestive tract, and now the body is able to receive the protein and the fats. And then that's when you want to have your heavy meal. Typically, I do one heavy meal a day, meaning that, so most of the day I'm drinking juice, coconut water, I may have some fruits, and then somewhere generally around between 3 and 5 o'clock, I'll have my meal. So usually it's like what we prepare, like the salad stuff, the entree stuff, the higher protein. And then that gives my body a chance to break it down before I go to sleep. So I have at least another 8 hours before I go to rest. Now, what do I do after I eat? Then again, that's going to hold me for the rest of the day, because again, it takes a lot of energy to digest. Food doesn't necessarily give us energy. We get energy from oxygen and from rest. So the more oxygen that's in our food, the more energy we're going to have. But if we're eating lots of food that don't have any oxygen, like lots of starch, lots of protein, which is what especially the standard American diet is just a starch and protein diet from breakfast. Bagels and waffles and eggs and all of these things that clog up the system. When again, we should be doing that eliminative diet, that cleanse, that flush. We're urinating, we're moving our bowels 2 or 3 times before noon. Okay, we're allowing the channels to open up, not starching it down with bagels and especially all the vegetarian junk food, this vegan pancakes and soy links and all this kind of stuff. This clogging up this plastic. So soy is plastic. It'll mess you up. It'll mess up the kids. For those of you who got youth who want to raise them vegetarian, the soy is not the way. Thank you. So, yeah. So we want to, on this diet, we need to, bring in that raw food nutrition, because again, even fat and protein, especially fat and protein, are the most sensitive to heat. Okay? If anything, you should be cooking, it is your fruits and your vegetables, because they still got the water at least. But you don't want to cook the water out of them. But it's the fats and proteins, the oils, the protein so again, when people are eating meat and eat animal flesh, you should be definitely eating that raw. Okay? Like, again, the people who are eating meat correctly are the ones that are eating the blood, because that's where the nutrition is. Just like the blood of the plant is in the fruits. The blood of the fruit is the juice. And we know that to be the most valuable part. Analogous, the meat, the most nutritious part of the meat is the blood. But we don't want to see that. We want to cook that out. You know, it's just like, you know, the Maasai people in Africa. You know, they poke there's a vein, yes. They drink the blood. Okay? Now, they don't live very long. No, I just did a talk at a dentist's office, and, you know, we're talking about teeth because, you know, the Weston A. Price. Any of y'all familiar with Weston A. Price? And how they're not vegetarian advocates because, you know, he went around the world and saw that, like, basically the people who had strong teeth, no cavities, no crowding, teeth grew strong, they basically followed an indigenous diet and more oftentimes than not, it was not a vegetarian diet. And, you know, the Maasai people were the ones he studied in Africa. And, you know, they drink the blood, they, you know, do all kinds of things. But they essentially live off the cow. But the thing is, like, that's the reason why, and even though they're drinking the blood, they're not cooking it. It's raw. And they're getting lots of nutrition. But again, it's, you know, they're dying. I mean, we'd all be dead if we was eating that kind of diet. Yeah, our teeth would be strong. Yes. Well, the thing is that, like that is not our food. We're not meant to eat the cow. Well, my guess would be cancer, because you're eating a high animal protein diet. You know, you're going to likely develop cancer.
Parasites.
Well, again, they all.
They wear them down.
Again, it's a heavy. Even though it's loaded nutritionally. See, we can't look at the nutrition in terms of like how the Western looks at it and saying, okay, this has this vitamin and this mineral and this that. We have to look at the whole picture and saying like, look, what is anatomically fit for us to eat? Okay, and we look at the apes. We have to look at the apes. We have to look at how they eat. And basically, they're largely a fruitarian. Lots of green leaves, nuts. You know, so that's the diet. Now, in our society, that's when it gets tricky, because we're not in the woods. We're not in nature for the most part. The rules still apply. But we have to find, because I say, look, the raw food diet is, like I say the raw food diet is not even the best diet. It's the best diet for me, but it may not be the best diet for you, because your food is your life. And it may be too difficult for you to give up all your traditions, all of your cravings, your family, your holidays, your work life. All of it is surrounded or centralized with food. Okay, especially now we're moving into holiday season. You know, we got, you know, Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the New Year's, all of the parties and all of the this and all of the familiar traditions. You're going to give up all of that. And some of you may, but my guess is most of you won't. And I'm just being realistic. I'm being like real, because the thing is like, you know, food is emotional. And I always say that each organ like has its own brain. So you could say with this brain up here, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat this, or I'm gonna eat more raw, I'm gonna do, you know, I'm not gonna eat this and eat that. But then your stomach and your liver and your kidneys and your heart is saying something else. Okay? And it's saying, no, you're gonna eat you're gonna eat that. And then that usually wins. Because then it'll start tricking your brain, and your brain will start saying, well, this, and then you start again. Our intellectual ability is our own worst enemy. Because the animal kingdom, they operate on instinct. Okay, we don't operate on instinct. Sometimes we do because I had a gut feeling, I had a intuition to, it wasn't mental. It was like intuitive. It was a flash. See, we're not connected enough to that because one, we don't follow our cycles, so we're just not in rhythm. And then two, we again with mass media, with social media, with traditions and propaganda, and all of these things have removed us from what is real and what is healthy. So the thing is that we have to. 5 minutes. Okay, is that for question and answer too? Okay, we got 5 more minutes. Okay, so let me try to wrap this up. So basically, in terms of eating more raw or introducing more raw foods into your life, you have to look at your whole life. You have to make a decision, one, and then say, how am I going to do this? How am I going to? I know for me, obviously, not only becoming a raw foodist and a raw food chef, and then opening a restaurant and doing retreats and stuff, that definitely helped me to become or stay a raw food person. I had to become a leader in it. So my job is to inspire you all to eat more raw, to educate yourself. Continue to educate yourself. Don't just listen to what I say. But there's tons of books. There's tons of lectures online, free. There's lots of demos and things you can do with food that can sort of mix things up and be creative. Especially as we move into our holiday season, and food becomes comfort, because again our sun is going down, and I didn't get into that. I wanted to get into that, but really the thing is that I'll wrap that up. One of the most important things, no matter what you eat, is to detox regularly. This is a tool, a machine, a vehicle like anything else. Everything that we use that applies, whether it's our car, our house, or anything that has its own unit, so to speak, has a maintenance cycle. It has a rhythm that you follow in order to get the best out of it. Our body is no exception. We have to be able to regularly cleanse and detox. Even as a raw food person, been eating this way for 15 years, I still have to stop eating food periodically. So again, I talked about the 24-hour cycle. Your first part of your day, or the first half of your day, should be just fluids, liquids. Okay? In a week, 1 day a week is an excellent practice. Because if you fast 1 day a week, 52 weeks in a year, that's almost 2 months. It's 52 days. And it is cumulative, because it does add up. And your body does, because when that day comes, it's like, okay, you shut it down. And you extend. So what you're doing is you're extending that sleep cycle, or that fast cycle, or that rest cycle. When you extend that rest cycle, you're giving your digestion is thanking you. I mean, it may be playing tricks on you, because it's saying like, look, feed me. But you have the discipline, especially week after week, is an excellent practice. Yes.
What is your suggestion for a day of fasting? How do you have 1 day a week of fasting?
Is it fruit or just water or what?
Well, typically, for the most part, it's not even if you do, like, let's say you do water or you do fresh juice, or even if you do fruit. The key thing is, even if you eat less. So eat half of what you, because some days, because I mean, even myself, it is a very difficult practice. Because like for me, my day has always been Sunday. And some Sundays, you know, I feel stronger to do it, and some Sundays I feel like eating.
So when you do it, what do you do?
Oh, when I do what?
When you do fast your day?
Oh, I just drink juice. Yes, so I drink a variety. I like to drink a variety of juices. I drink coconut water, I drink green juices, I drink fruit juices. Again, you know, a lot of people like to demonize fruit. But again, fruit, that's our food. That's our number one food. You know, we just have to balance it with greens and nuts and other things. But fruit is definitely our food. Because one thing I always say is, like, you can drink all the water. You know, 8 glasses, 12 glasses of water. It's not about how much water you drink. It's about how much water you can eat. Okay, how much water are you eating? Okay, because we could drink all this water, but then we're eating all this starch and heavy animal protein and all that stuff. No, we need to be eating water. We need to be all of our food should have water, because that's the way our body works. Our body works is like it's trying to pull something from that, and that's the juice. So if it's pulling juice, it's pulling the water from the food. That's how our body works, like a juicer, like a juice extractor. Then it moves, and then the fiber goes on its way. But what's you know, our blood is the blood of what we eat. Okay, so so that's what I would do. And then of course we have a month or a lunar cycle, and especially for women, you know, you have your natural ovulation clock. Like that's an ideal time, because that's a detox. The body is, you know, doing this menstrual thing, and you know, with the emotions and the cravings that happen, and the cramps. Again, that's all related to all the food you ate that month prior. But so you can really, you have to eat good the whole month, but to make that elimination phase much easier, is better to, it's an ideal time to say, okay, you know, oh, you know, I'm checking my clock, whatever, I'm due on this month, so I'm gonna do a 2-day or a 3-day every month during that time. It'll make it a whole different experience. Okay, the elimination of an unfertilized egg shouldn't mean a 2-week crisis. Okay, it doesn't. God didn't create the woman of our species for it to be just this huge event. It's not meant to be that. Okay, so that's our lunar phase, and then obviously our solar cycle. You know, like I said, we just passed through our equinox, and we're coming up on our winter solstice. And the winter solstice is a time where I like to do my longer fast. I like to do like at least 2 weeks, because it is a rest. It's like if we stretched out a 24-hour cycle into a year, the winter solstice would be equivalent to midnight. Okay, so during midnight we're asleep, we're at rest. But the thing is like I said, what are we doing as a culture, as a society? We're celebrating, we're festive, it's a bunch of lights, it's a bunch of food. So we're overstimulating ourselves during this time of rest, where the sun comes up and it goes right back down. I don't know how many hours of sun we get, especially during that time, off the top of my head, but it's not a lot. And we should be eating very minimally at that time. We should be doing a lot of prayer, meditation, that sort of thing. We should be reflecting and actually setting the seeds for the next year. But we're getting overstimulated, we're over-consuming, not just food, but material goods and items and things of that nature. And it really sets the stage of our whole life for the year coming. So those are some things to think about. When usually during an event, we have because I said like education is so important. So I have my DVD set and I have my book here. My book really goes more into fasting and in terms of when I started doing group fasts about 7-8 years ago. This is the program that I created. So it grew into a book over like a 6-year period. So on my website, together these are usually $60, but today only be $50. So I have copies downstairs. So $50 together, the set. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh yeah, so make sure you get a coupon. This is a $5 off coupon. So you can go pick one of those up. $5 off. This is a brochure for the juice cleanse. So you want to pick one of those up. We started shipping the juice cleanse this year. So if you're anywhere really on the East Coast, it's like an overnight thing. And again, just go to my website. So I don't have much time. I'm sure we have some time for the question and answer, but I just want to thank you for listening. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so his question was, again, in the raw food movement, I did touch on it in terms of how we have specifically people who are like very much into the fruit and the fruitarian. They call them 80-10-10. So 80 being like you get 80% of your nutrition from fruits, essentially, or simple carbohydrates. And then you get 10% from protein and then 10% from fat. Okay, so you eat pretty much a minimal protein and fat, and they don't use anything like olive oil, or if they do, it's very minimal. My thing about that is like, again, you want to live, and again, like I said, I like to listen to music. I don't like to listen to one instrument at a time, and I feel the raw food cuisine is equivalent to like listening to a symphony versus one instrument. Now, yes, is it easier for your body to break down like if you just ate apples or you just ate celery or spinach by itself? But if to add 4 or 5 ingredients together, harmonious in a way. And again, most of the time I am drinking juices and I'm eating lots of fruit. So it's just about balance. And I think as a raw food person, it just really gives you a time, especially as a raw food chef, just allows me to just take what God made as already perfect. Let me be clear about that. God, Mother Nature is the ultimate chef. I'm really more messing it up, if anything. But Mother Nature is the perfect chef. Like it produced that apple or that fig or that fruit, and it took maybe 6 months. It maybe took years. It took a little bit of soil, a little bit of sun, rain, so those are the ingredients. And then, what I'm doing is taking it and then adding other things in harmony. And so olive oil, again, it's a minimally processed, especially if you want to use extra virgin olive oil. You don't want to use pure olive oil. You don't want to use pomace or any of these other ones. You want to use the extra virgin. And so doing that, and then doing it again, we need oil, we need fat, and especially as we move into our fall winter months, we definitely need those, definitely. So again, it's finding your path, finding your way, and finding out what works for you. Okay, one more question? No? Okay. But since we're over time, I'll be respectful. Thank you.